Hey guys, what's good? It's Hens, back again with another ADV video. Today, this is going to be a replay of me playing zomog for ADV Globals. Shouts to Zom for letting me feature this on my channel. I did ask him if it was okay if I featured these replays, and he said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. So this is a best of 3, so first to 2 wins, and yeah, it's a competitive set for a tournament. $50 Amazon voucher prize or something. It's on Smogon. I'll link it in the description below, so you guys can check it out if you want. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I was really hoping to make a deep run, so you can imagine seeing round 1 zomog was not something that was particularly exciting, maybe to me. I mean, in a sense, it's cool to play good players, but you know, maybe I was hoping for a couple of easy rounds, but whatever. Anyway, so I got zomog. I decided I'd just give it my best shot, bring some teams I feel comfortable with, and play as well as I could. So I'll get right into it. In this first game, I decided to bring some Vaporeon Baton Pass, just because I've played this team so many times on the ladder. I feel very comfortable with it. I get a lead matchup, which is great, and I'm going to be able to go for a sub here with my Vaporeon. So this is a great start already, because I've got a great Baton Pass target. If you know this team, I've used it a couple of times in tournaments. This can Baton Pass straight to my banded Metagross and start to put in some big work. So and he doesn't even EQ here. He actually goes for a Frustration, which means that my Metagross is able to keep that sub, which is absolutely awesome. And it's going to be able to go for a big mash, and it does a hell of a lot to zomog's Swampert there. So it's an offensive pert, and we're going to be able to do a hell of a lot to it, which is absolutely awesome. We unfortunately do miss the second one, which probably would have allowed me to just 3-KO him there. But I might decide to make the trade anyway here, just because I've got other physical threats in the back. Yeah, I do, but I missed the second mash. So that trade doesn't exactly work out for me, and I'm going to take a huge Hydro Pump there. So I was hoping to trade that down because I have a DD Ments in the back that can potentially win this game, because, you know, Blaziken isn't going to stop it. That kind of thing. It's okay though. I've got Heracross in the back as well. It's going to be able to come in pretty nicely on this off-pert and fire off a Mega Horn or something here. I believe that's what I just do. I do, yeah. It does a decent chunk to a Salamence. We do see leftovers, so it's probably a Mixed Ments, maybe a DD Ments, but it's unlikely. We're going to see what he decides to do here. We do just hear Dragon Claw, so it's confirmed a Mixed Ments now, and Lax is going to be able to take that pretty well with leftovers. No sand up yet, so pretty comfortably going to be able to take that. I believe I might just throw out a Body Slam here and just go for a Paralysis, and I'm not sure whether I get it or not. I do get it, so that's nice. Maybe a little bit kind of justice for those Meteor Mash misses, but it's only going to pay off if I'm able to get a couple of full powers, so we'll see. I think goes my Swampert here. I believe this is an End Pert, so it's kind of like a double offensive water kind of core. It's definitely going to be threatening to this Metagross. I predict him not to boom here and go for the Hydro damage, as I believe he just Psychics me again. And I might just decide to trade him here. Oh no, wait. Hydro is in Torrent now. Excuse me. I've got something in my throat, I think, or something. Anyway, so it's going to be able to threaten something here. So I'm able to heavily chip the Metagross, which is great for off-Vap, since it's at full, and nothing on his team really OHKOs it apart from Boom from Lax, which I've now endeavored down. So he's in a pretty poor spot versus off-Vap, which is really good for me. He's very threatening at this point in the game, and it's going to be able to come back on in here and kill something with Hydro Pump, most likely. I believe I just click it straight. He tries to save the Boom, and he goes into his Zapdos. This would have taken over 50% anyway. I actually crit his Zapdos, which is pretty huge. I would say that's maybe even bigger than the Meteor Mash misses. Definitely really big though, because I didn't have a lot of switch-ins to Zapdos. I mean, granted, Lax switches him decently well, but the thing is that he would have been able to use that as a counter offense point for him. You know, he would have been able to double it in on my Vaporeon to stop it from making more progress, that kind of thing. It would have kept him in the game. But anyway, here I'm going to be able to, you know, eat up hits from any mono on his team with this Vaporeon, and pretty much everything dies in one. I believe the Metagross might just be out of range, but he's also paralyzed, so I can actually just sub down on it, try that kind of thing. You know, he's got a Boom to be able to OHKO me, so you know, not an ideal situation for him. I've also still got my own Metagross, so you know, plenty of things I can do. I sub here, and he goes for he gets full powered. So yeah, so that is going to be pretty much it now. Hydro Pump, as long as I can hit, is going to 2-KO this. I Baton Pass it. Okay, I Baton Pass it to my own Meta, so I'm able to get that in safely, and he gets full powered again, which is definitely unfortunate, but there's no point in me. Well, I mean, I suppose I could EQ. I could just mash him as well, though. Yeah, I just mash. I feel like there's no point in you know, giving free turns out to the Mixed Ments. Yeah, it's pretty much a wrap now. I'm just a bit too far in the lead, and also, you know, because something's going to die to this Metagross before it goes down, pretty much. Granted, if he hadn't gotten so many full powers, he probably would have been able to take it out. It definitely robs him a little bit at the end here, but my last Mon DD Mence was also going to get at least a kill, most likely, unless he 100% pivoted around me with his own Mence. So, yeah, this was pretty much over at this point, and I'll just skip through these last couple of turns. He subs up, looking for a miss. He does in fact get one, focus punches me, and I just mash his subs. I hit most of them, which is good. He overheats my Metagross to take it out, and that's actually going to put him at low enough HP that Hidden Power Ice isn't going to kill my Salamence, and I'm going to be able to Hidden Power him there and knock him out. And then Dragon Claw is going to take me out. Snorlax can just come in and boom, and that's the game. So that's game one. I'm able to win that relatively convincingly, which is nice. A little bit of hacks on my side for sure, definitely, versus the Metagross, and critting the Zapdos prevented him from being able to come back towards the end. But I think, you know, Zapdos was never going to be such a big threat when, if you look at how much, you know, my Heracross was at full and my Lax boomed at the end from full. So I had plenty of checks to that Zapdos. You know, I could have still played around it. I mean, it definitely snuffed out Zom's odds of being able to make a convincing comeback there. So unlucky for that one, but I was able to take that game pretty nicely there. On to game two here. I'm going to get straight into it. No point in wasting any time. It's a Zapdos on Zapdos lead, if I remember correctly. It is. And this team that I brought this time was just another team. This is a team that I built for week 1 of PPL. Unfortunately, Jabba crit all my Mons, so I wasn't able to win that game despite having a really good matchup. But this is a defensive spin Starmie team with Rock Resist, defensive meta, Wish Bliss, Protect Scarm, etc, etc. I believe I scout here for Magneton because I see that he's got a Celebi. I don't want to risk there being a Magneton in the back, so I do scout for it. And I'm able to get in the T-Tar here. I believe I might pursue him as well. First couple of turns, pretty decent for me. Maybe I could have potentially gone for a crunch or something on the switch there, but because, you know, from the looks of the team so far, you would probably think that this was a physical tar, you know. Generally, most often paired with Scarm, you're going to see 4 attacks tars and that kind of thing, more offensive tars. But anyway, I'm able to switch in my Zapdos here on the Coon. It is a Spidef Zap, so it's going to be a pretty decent check to this. I can't remember whether his Celebi was an offensive one or a defensive one. I played this set like a couple of weeks ago now, so yeah, well, not a couple of weeks ago, like almost a week ago now. Almost. It's coming on for a week ago. At the point of recording this, so I'm going to switch in my Tar here onto the Celebi, and yeah, like I said, obviously, well, I mean, as you guys have seen, it's a Pursuit Tar. It's going to be able to eat up anything the Celebi has, potentially threaten it with Crunch. I believe he actually goes for a Hidden Power Grass there, as my Zapdos is able to come in here and just, you know, pressure things, etc. with pressure. If he wants to Leech Seed me, he's going to be losing 2 Leech Seeds, so that was the idea here. This is a pretty long game, so I'm going to skip through some turns. It's not particularly exciting. Magneton comes on in, etc, etc. I'm basically trying not to get my Scarm trapped and trying to condition him to think that I'm always going to double when I go into my Scarm to try and make progress, and by conditioning him in that way, I'm going to hopefully be able to get up a Spike at some point, as he in fact stays in predicting a Tar or something like that. That was my game plan here, and then having a Spike up and still having the Skarmory for his Lax and his Suicune was the plan, was that would make it very difficult for him to win, hopefully. So I'm able to go into my Skarm here as he goes into his Zapdos. It's a pretty nice mid-ground for him. Covers pretty much everything I could have done versus that Lax. So very nice play. I'm going to go into my Blissey, obviously, and he just goes for a sunny day. So he's changing the weather, which is kind of annoying for me, because he's got those 2 sweepers that really appreciate sand being gone. And I believe he might just go for the chip here. Yeah, he actually goes for a Toxic to chip my Tar. So it's a really nice play from Zom. His Zapdos is being very annoying to my team. Courtesy of it being able to change the weather there. He T-bolts me, and I believe I might just trade. Yeah, I do, and I just get a lot of chip there. Switch out to the Blissey. He changes the weather again, goes for another Toxic. He unfortunately misses, which would have been nice for him to have, because I believe his last is Dug Trio on this. Yeah, it is. As he actually doubles it in on my Metagross here. But he decides not to take the trap, and he actually goes into his Suicune as I mash. Now I've got to be wary. There were a couple of times in this game where I don't consider the repercussions of him having both trappers. So you know, there's turns where you know, like, I've got to be wary of the scenario where Magneton can switch in on a Meteor Mash, chip my Metagross with T-Bolt, and then Doug can follow up and knock me out, right? Now obviously he's only going to be able to make that play if my Skarmory is gone. So I have to be very careful, basically not to let him get that turn off. yeah, not to let, well, I mean, to try and not let him trap my my Scarm, and that would mean that he's never going to be able to make that sequence of plays. Anyway, he Ice Beams me here as I'm asleep. He's actually a CM rest Ice Beam Suicune, so it's very, very annoying for this team because generally this team likes to use the defensive Zapdos to check that Suicune. So I'm going to have to S-toss it down, force it to rest, and then roar it out, which then leaves me a bit more open to that Magneton being able to trap me and make that Suicune go a bit more out of control, if that makes sense. Especially with Sand not being up, I believe at some point during this set of turns I'd make a double to my Tyranitar, yeah, to get up the Sand again. Try and get that up safely, as he does in fact go for another Calm Mind. So I'm able to get that up nicely there. And I believe I just put a double back to the Blissey here. I can't remember whether this was like offensively invested or not. But I do know that it has max HP, obviously, because it's not taking a lot from those S-tosses. So it's particularly annoying for this team, definitely. I don't think that Ice Beam was any kind of offensive investment, in fact, onto the Zapdos, so no. But anyway, couple more turns here. I basically am I'm trying to wish stuff up, I think, at this point, trying to get some wishes out to the Zapdos. If I can get a wish out to the Zapdos, then it puts me in a lot better spot versus the Suicune. If I can get the Zapdos to wake up with like at least 70% of its HP versus the Suicune, then I'm in a much better spot. Just because I can roar out and I can threaten it with T-Bolt, so, you know, he's never in a spot to, you know, I've got a couple more contingency turns in it where, you know, as Suicune sets up or whatever, I can switch to Zapdos and force it out before I have to rest, kind of thing. So, yeah, soft-boiling up and whatever, etc., etc. Just trying to force the Suicune to rest. I believe I might go for a double here on his boost, on his rest even. No, I soft-boil. Okay. Like I said, these games are not 100% in my head. Yeah, he surfs me, doesn't Turk here, my Blissey. S-toss there, he's barely out of range of Sand. And yeah, I mean, we know that he's not going to be in range of Sand because that one turn there was a leftovers turn from before. So anyway, his Suicune's back at full as I get back to full as well. I might have just S-toss him down again here. Yeah, I do. So potentially risking a crit here, maybe not the best line of play, but I didn't want him to double to Magneton, expecting me to go to my Skarmory to phase. There's a lot of mind games with trappers here because since my Zapdos is asleep, I can lose to the Suicune pretty hard. So I have to get in my Skarm at the right time without being magged, and he actually does stay asleep this time, so I'm going to be able to get off that Whirlwind, which is just basically what I want, but he's just going to burn the extra sleep turn. That's what makes sense. It's risky keeping Suicune asleep like that. I'm able to get lucky there with my phase, and I'm able to get in the Celebi instead of the Magneton. And like I said, I was conditioning him to try and get that spike up, and that's in fact what I do go for there. So that works out really nicely for me. Maybe it was potentially risky. He could have had Baton Pass on the Celebi, but I feel like he was always just going to try and pressure me with something like Leech Seed. With pressure, Leech Seed is going to really be, you know, losing a lot of PP. He went for a good couple of them onto my Zapdos. So, yeah, I believe I just burned a sleep turn here because 12% isn't a whole lot to be losing for one turn of sleep. So, yeah. Dugtrio is pretty annoying at this point. I've got to fear the Rock Slide, but I also want to go to something that can't get trapped in that way. So I'm going to switch here to my Skarm, and he actually doubles in his Magneton. So Zom gets me here on this Trapper turn. That could have potentially been some Trapper shenanigans, and maybe I should have just sacked the Tar or something. It would have been a little bit, you know, just gone to the Tar to potentially just sack it. I think it would have been a safer play. Tar isn't particularly useful at this time. He does in fact get the Vol here with T-Bolt. Obviously Skarm does have slight odds to live. That one is absolutely max for death, and obviously my one is because it's fully protect Skarm with a Wish Bliss. There's no point in not running the fully Spadef. He actually has Sunny Day on his Magneton, so because he's got the double Trapper and whatever, it's pretty easy for him to you know, throw weather changing moves on things. I think that maybe with a team like this, maybe I could have suspected that he wouldn't have Rock Slide on the Dug, but I didn't want to risk it, since if he does at any point trap this, Zapdos is my phaser for both of these threats, and I can't risk it going down. So, you know, I just did the risk-free play, basically. He's going to curse up with his Snorlax here, and at this point in time, now my Skarmory has gone down. Like I said, he can make that turn of plays where he goes Magneton and then Dugtrio, and in fact, I don't see it coming. I don't see it coming on this turn, and Meteor Mash doesn't kill him. If I'd Earthquake there, I would have been in with a great shot at this game. Since Metagross can pressure the Lax just with Mash, because it's max attack, and I would have still been able to keep the Boom for the Suicune. Just keeping Metagross around would have given me great shot versus the Snorlax, and so it really comes down to that one turn where the Trapper comes in to trap my Metagross, and I think I should have been slightly more aware of that, because I think realistically, unless he was Curse EQ Lax, he wasn't ever really pressuring me to click that Mash there, and I think I just should have been a bit more wary of it, really. I think I definitely should have EQ'd at least the first time there, just to play it safe, but yeah, that's on me for not playing this that well. So, at this point, it's just waiting for him to position that Snorlax so it can come in safely, and that's exactly what he does. He frustrations my Zapdos, and I believe I just roar him here. Yeah, trying to delay the inevitable, but, no sand up at the moment and whatever. It's just not really it. No Spadef drops, etc. And I'll just skip to the end, because you know what's going to happen. Lax is eventually going to get into that positioning where it can just sweep, and that's exactly what it does. And that's going to be game 2. So zomog takes game 2. It's 1-1 now, and I've got to bring it back. Going to get straight into game 3. No point in sticking around waiting. In this game, I bring a classic, just something that I'm really comfortable with. I wanted to, give my best odds of outplaying. That team that I used last time was a team that I built, so I know it pretty well, but I haven't played it in a while, and I definitely threw that one a little bit. Yeah, I definitely made some slightly less favorable turns, I think, and I just wanted to load up something that I was going to make the least misplays with, and something that I felt the most comfortable with to win this last game here. And just Jolt Spikes in general tends to be a comfort spot for me. I like playing that kind of offensive, fast pace kind of doubles and baton pass and roar the Blissey, and chip down the special threats with spikes and whatever. So this is just a Starmie Metagross. Jolt Spikes, pretty standard. It's the same sort of, it's the same 6 that the Curse team uses. Anyway, I sub here as he actually switches into his Blissey, so this is going to give me a free baton pass. Basically, subbing up turn 1 versus Zapdos means that Jolteon can be a good lead versus Zapdos, because it prevents it from being T-waved, and really just annoys Zapdos in general. So I'm going to be able to get up a spike there as he goes into his own Scarm, and I'm going to be able to taunt his Scarm here. My Scarm on this team is very, very fast. I'm not going to give away the EVs, because I don't want to be counter-teamed in the future, but it's got a lot of speed. Here I just get up another spike. I see that he's a Hariyama stall, so I've got to potentially be careful of a Claydol with this or that kind of thing. But I do know that I want my max layers up, because it really pressures these kind of mons. And he knocks me off. I don't think that that's a huge issue for me, because realistically this team is fast-paced enough that if I can get up all of the layers and outplay any spinners that he might have in the back, I should be in a really good position. So I'm going to taunt his Scarm here, and he's actually just going to drill peck me down for a little bit of chip. I mean, that's really not a big deal, because I already have my 3 layers up, and if there was to be something like Claydol or something in the back, I'm still going to be able to keep up my layers, because of course I have a Gengar. I believe I might just go straight for a drill peck on this. Yep, as I do. And he might go for he goes for a rest, so yeah. Makes sense. Doesn't want to lose the Yama this early on. Pretty annoying one for me to deal with. Pretty annoying one for TSS teams in general to deal with. Fighting stab and knockoff, both very annoying for teams that set up sand. Anyway, I'm going to be able to taunt his Scarm here, and he drill pecks me again. So obviously my Scarm is taking a reasonable amount of chip. I believe I go into Jolteon here on a drill peck. Yep, it doesn't take a lot from that, because it's not a YOLO Scarm. And I can just go for a BP here, I believe. Yep, as he does go into his Blissey. I T-Bolt, yeah. Yeah, when I play good players, I don't like to be too risque with my baton passes and roars, just because you never know when they might make a play, and you don't want to risk that. This early in the game, when I've already got 3 spikes up and none of my mons have taken extensive chip, why would I risk anything? So yeah, he goes for a wish there with the Blissey. I put another double out here to my Gengar as he actually goes into his Swampert. Now this is great, because this Gengar is grass, Gengar felt like a pretty easy catch all there. It's okay versus a sleeping Yama. It's okay if he switches into his Scarm. So I just go for the HP grass there. Some people I was talking to one person, they said, oh, they're not so keen on me revealing grass that early, but I feel like, Swampert was going to scout anyway. I don't really mind showing that I've got grass, since you know, after another spike, you know, after a couple of sets of spikes, he's well in range of it. Anyway, my Tar's going to come on in here. It's very threatening to the Zapdos, and I just throw out a Focus Punch as he in fact goes into a Skarmory, into a Swampert, sorry. And Focus Punch plus spikes is a hell of a lot of damage. So getting that one turn right gives me so much sort of like gain in this battle. You know, I'm just really ahead now, and I'm going to switch out to my Starmie on this Swampert because I'm pretty sure that it's a defensive build. And that's going to work out really nicely for me again, because I find out that he's a Monopert, which means that he can't actually touch this Starmie at all. So, you know, very, very threatening to his team. He does have a Zapdos and a Blissey, so it's not necessarily going to be able to sweep him right away. But, you know, Jolteon is one of those mons that really just excels at annoying specially defensive mons. His Blissey is already very chipped, so coming in on spikes and a Hydro Pump would really pressure it anyway. So I'm going to be able to Hydro Pump the Skarmory as it comes in there, and I'm going to be able to T-Bolt it. He does live the second one, but this is a huge amount of damage on his Skarm just for one spike. The likelihood that it's going to be able to get up more spikes in the future, I mean, yeah, it's really going to struggle just to get spikes in general versus this team. I do think that potentially he should have tried to get up spikes versus the Tyranitar still, though. But anyway, he's only going to get up one spike, and his Blissey needs to recover. Spikes are somewhat annoying. I don't really want them chipping down all my mons, since, you know, they're all out of range of stuff at the moment. Why not spin it away as he goes for a recover? You know, I've got quite a lot of time to fight this Blissey because I've got a whole entire Tyranitar with max HP sitting in the back there. I've got a Gengar with Boom. You know, there are a lot of plays that I can make to get around this Blissey, so I was just pretty happy to play it slowly, play a bit more slowly against it, just because his team is so passive, in fact, versus me, with the Hariyama being a sleeper at the moment, and of course Zapdos struggling to make progress thanks to me having Jolteon, that I feel like I can afford to take that slower pace. Anyway, he goes for an S-Toss here, as I believe I just Rock Slide him, and I've played Zom before, and he was really good at S-Tossing my Tyranitar as it went for Focus Punch, and I didn't want to let that happen again, so I in fact hard slided every time here versus the Blissey, right till the point where the Blissey was in range of spikes, and then I believe I click Focus Punch on these turns to stop him from being able to heal it up, because at this point in the game, you know, he's got to be really careful with this Blissey, because I've got a huge amount of special threats. I mean, I've got the trio here down at the bottom of Jolteon, Gengar, and Starmie that all go in really heavily versus him if he isn't really careful around them. So I just keep clicking those Focus Punches to stop him from being able to heal that up, because it's actually that his Blissey is in such a situation right now that my last mon Metagross comes in and threatens it anyway, even if he knocks me out. So I Focus Punch here. He hopes for full power, I think, and he doesn't get it, and I'm able to Focus Punch him. So I feel like that was maybe a little bit of a mistake, maybe from Zomog, letting his Blissey sort of get chipped down so much by my Tyranitar. But I can understand why he did it. Nothing on his team can take a Focus Punch in that sort of in this sort of situation, so it's very difficult for him. I actually pivot in my Skarmory on the Hidden Power Grass there. Nothing really wants to take it. My Skarmory isn't a particularly important element at this point in the game. All the spikes have gone up. You know, he has a Swampert, so it's somewhat unlikely that he's going to have a Claydol as well. You know, and like, I mean, why do I even need it? Anyway, I pivot in my Jolteon here on a T-Ball, and I'm able to get that play right. I sub here expecting a T-Wave, and I'm able to get that play right as well. So Jolteon's in a great position here to get off some damage without losing its speed tier, which is exactly what I was trying to get out of this. I didn't want my Jolteon getting paralyzed, and this is going to force him to roar me. So I'm going to be able to get 55% on what looks like an offensive zap, which is going to put it in range of Starmie's Ice Beam. It's going to put it in range of Gengar's Ice Punch, and it's also going to put it in range of Metagross's Meteor Mash plus Sand, I think, here. Unfortunately, he actually T-Bolt crits my Metagross. I wasn't really feeling comfortable pivoting in on that. I felt like he was going to switch anyway, so I just mashed, and in fact he crits me there. But that's a bit unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate. It means I'm not going to get the 6-0, but Starmie is able to come in at this point anyway and just win out the game. So Thick Fat Yama's going to come on in, but it doesn't have the best Spadef. You know, he's still got a turn of sleep to take, so, you know, Hydro Pump plus T-Bolt should take him out, and that's in fact what I do. Hydro Pump, and then one T-Bolt here is going to finish him off. His Swampert's Endper, Starmie has Natural Cure, so I just Hydro Pump it for the damage, or Ice Beam it even, and then switch out to get rid of the poison. Starmie basically sweeps him at this point. There's not many lasts that he could have that could stop it, with 3 spikes up, of course. it's going to be very difficult. He does in fact have tar loss, which is most likely going to be the case on a team with these kind of ones on it. You know, Yama definitely wants sand for that knockoff, so it made a lot of sense. That was what I was guessing it would be. Swampet's going to come on in, but it's that low, and you know, I don't even have to risk a Hydro miss. I can just beam it, switch out if he toxics me. No point in risking anything, and yeah, and that's going to be game there. So yeah, that was a pretty good set. I was really happy with the result. I was able to beat zomog, who I think most people would say would be someone who is more likely to win versus me. I would say, I think most people would call him the favourite in this matchup, definitely. And I was able to beat him really convincingly, especially in that last game. So I was really, really happy with that outcome. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed the narration. It was a bit slapdash. I wanted to get it done because I've been procrastinating it for so long. It's been a while since I've uploaded anything, and I just wanted to get back on the grind a little bit and try and get some more videos out. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, if you did, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, etc. And also, if you are new to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you checked out the other narrated tournament videos, and definitely drop a sub as well. So thank you guys very much for watching. As always, your support is very much appreciated. And also, before I forget, check out Callus's channel at the moment. That'll be linked in my featured channels on my channel. And you can just go onto my channel and you'll find them down the side there, on the on the right hand side of the channel screen, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the subject terminology is or whatever, but you can find his channel there. Go onto his channel and you will see that there are a lot of tournament games going up at the moment. That's because Callus Invitational 4 is going on. Play-ins have there's one more play-ins game to go at the point of recording this, and I believe that's Techless versus, I can't remember, but definitely go watch some of those replays. They are really, really good, and support the channel. I've been doing some guest narrations there, so you might get to hear my lovely voice there as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.